On a hot summer night, would you offer your throat to the wolf with the red roses? I'll bet you say that to all the boys. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update as we are rolling on along through April here. Lots of new things going on, lots of old things going on. In fact, a lot of things that were happening last week are still kind of happening this week. But you know what? That's why I call it a weekly update, not a monthly update. So sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, my friend. So let's get into what am I reading like usual, guys. Just like last week, I am still working on this beast called Memories of Ice. And yes, I haven't made as much progress as you would think. Here's the thing is, I said I was going to take my time with this, but look, this is taking me even longer than I thought. I'm lucky to get through one chapter a day, which is not saying much because there are some chapters in here that are quite long. And what I've told you guys before is like a chapter in a Malazan book is about like 30 chapters in another book, because it's insane. I think it was chapter 7. That was about 80 pages, and 80 pages of a Malazan book. Yeah, that's really something, because I think really like 15 pages at a time is about what the human mind can handle with this book. But here's the thing with me in this book is that, and I don't want to say, I want to get this out front, guys. I'm still enjoying my trip through this world that Steven Erikson has created. I feel like whenever I do this, people are like, oh God, you're going to DNF the series. Look, what I mean when I say this is, I went into this knowing that this was going to be work, that it was going to be something that you have to, some stuff you got to learn to roll with, and some things I'm like, you know what? I need to read that again because I feel like I didn't catch as much of it as I thought I should have. And with this, it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, Memories of Ice, this is like the easiest book in Malazan to roll through. And I'm like, then I might be a dummy because I'm rereading every other paragraph, So I'm only on like chapter 11 right now, which is page 335, in a week. And it's work, guys. I really don't know how else to put it without getting into spoilers here, but it's just like every time you're like, okay, all right, I got all the characters, I'm good, I'm ready to go, and then Steven Erikson's like, not so fast, my friend. Here's 17 new characters and 3 new factions and 2 new cities and 2 new continents to learn about. And hey, why don't we throw in a couple of sub-races to these races that I've established? And, and that's fine. I think it's an absolutely magnificent way to world build. It's just, again, this isn't anything that you can binge read. And I think the people that binge read this book, I don't see how they're capturing some of this stuff. But maybe they're just smarter than me. I mean, that's all I can think of. As, I know there's stuff I'm not going to understand. But like I said, I feel like, I'll get to a certain part. When I finish that section, I'll go and listen to 10 Very Big Books podcast, and I'll listen to them talk, and I'll be like, well, maybe I got more of it than I thought that I did, because when they're talking about things, I feel like I'm answering their questions. They can't hear me, but I'm talking to them while they're saying stuff. But that's a very, very fun podcast. If you guys are reading in the Malazan read along right now, and you want to follow along with 10 Very Big Books podcast, very, very amusing, because 2 of the 3 people have not read the series before. So hearing them with the same frustrations that you might be having really is a treat. But guys, I know I said I wasn't going to do this because I wanted to make sure I was focusing on Malazan. Well, look, my brain was spaghetti, and I needed something light and airy to kind of decompress while I let some things settle in. So I went ahead and broke into my 2022 books, guys. Wool by Hugh Howey. This is book 1 in Silo, which is actually, I think, 5 novellas, and he kind of compiled it into one, because I already finished the first short story here, and it's easy to read, guys. That's why I picked it. It was either this or I was going to go with Recursion, but even then I was like, Blake Crouch is I've only got 1 book experience, but I feel like I know Blake Crouch already. Listen to me. I think that even that still is going to be a little bit of science. I'm like, I just need something light, and you don't have to think too much. And people said that Wool and Silo as a whole is very easy to grasp, very easy to understand. I like the concept. I won't say it's incredibly original. There are things that I've seen. Red Rising did something similar. Hell, I think even Hunger Games did something similar. It's not what you think. It's not what you think, guys. But it'll be something that you feel like you've heard before. Doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it any less, though. So I think that that'll be a good counter programming as I make my way through Memories of Ice, and I'm not worried about it really cutting into my schedule or anything like that, because obviously this isn't priority. This is something I could take a month to finish and be fine. Just kind of when I'm feeling overloaded from Malazan, I feel like I dip into this bad boy with this huge font, these like double spaced lines. It won't be, because it's not as thick as it looks. It really isn't. But really cool cover though, right? But yeah, people can't say enough good things about this series, and I can see why. Very approachable, like I said, and I had never heard of it until a wonderful viewer sent those books to me. So thank you very, very much. Let's get in. No, actually, there's one more thing. What am I reading? Me and my kid. It took 11 months. We finally finished The Goblet of Fire. Now, the reason it took that long, guys, is we just read, a little bit before bed each night. And I'm sure if you have kids, you understand this. I'm not tired, I'm not tired, I'm not tired, I'm not tired. And then you sit down in the bed and you start to read to him. And so, yeah, it took a long time to get through Goblet of Fire when he was falling asleep for the first 3 minutes every night. So a long, long time. But he did enjoy the second half more than he enjoyed the first half. It's kind of like with a lot of Harry Potter books, I feel like with the young kids, is once they get to Hogwarts, then it's actually fun. And all the build-up, all the stuff with like the Dursleys and stuff, that's kind of hit or miss with kids. With that one, it was like the beginning with Barty Crouch and Ludo Bagman. He just wasn't really feeling it very much. But once they got to the school, he really had a good time with it. I had a good time revisiting it, but it made me realize something about that movie, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Let's get into what am I going to read. Well, guys, it's probably still going to be Memories of Ice. I don't imagine I'm going to finish this before the calendar rolls around till May, because like I said, the pace I'm going at, I think I'm at like the 36% mark. Yeah, we're probably going into the first week of May at the earliest, and that's fine by me. We've got until May 31st to finish this, but I would say probably by the end of that first week of of May, I'll be looking to get into my first spoiler talk for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for what am I going to read. There is something else. My kid said that we were going to wait. We were going to wait until we got the illustrated edition. That new illustrated edition comes out for the Order of the Phoenix. Well, he decided he was too excited. He couldn't wait. So we went ahead and started the Order of the Phoenix. And this is one that I don't know how this is going to click with him, because, guys, this is the first one where I feel like it gets really into the politics of that world. It gets into, owls and testing and things like that. So I'll be interested to see how that goes with him. But I think once you get into the actual, Dumbledore's army and things like that, I think he'll have a good time with it. So I expect it to take as long as Goblet of Fire took, probably. By the time we get to Deathly Hallows, he'll probably be reading these on his own. But hey, that's always the goal. That always is the goal. But really, that's all I got planned for what am I going to read. Like I said, Malazan is going to take priority, and I wish I had more to tell you guys, except that I am enjoying myself with it. I am just taking it at a very, very slow pace because there is a lot of information to consume. Let's talk about some things that happened this week on the channel. I did my long-delayed review for Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, and I think it was the most positive negative review that you could ever have, because I did talk about many things that I liked in there, and I think all the things I talked about that was negative, even people who love the book and love the series were like, yeah, I can't really argue with that on. A lot of them have told me, much like fans of any long series will tell you, when you get through with the series, you'll look back on it and see, yes, it had a point, but the first read-through, it can feel kind of a little long in the tooth, like I talked about. And again, what I said in there is that I think she's a magnificent writer. I just think the plot kind of suffered in this one due to her world building and her incessant knack for describing every little detail about the landscape to me, and about Elfbark and things like that. But again, I think that she's a great writer. I think that she's earned my trust enough for me to keep going. I do plan on dipping into live ship trailers this fall after I do Poppy War. And yeah, this is going to be a project, probably 2-3 years to get through this whole thing, because it isn't anything that's a rush on my part right now. But definitely going to be keeping going, and then you get to live ship trailers, and I'm still not feeling it. Well, I'm going to want to see what she does with this second Fitz trilogy. So at worst case scenarios, guys, I'm doing 9 of these books, and I feel like at that point I'll be like, it's too far to go back now. So I'm going to read probably all of the Realm of the Elderlings. It's just not going to be quick, I don't think. And like I said, I think I was very fair in that review. If it's ever what is considered a negative review for me, it's going to be wrapped around reasons I think are very fair. And I don't think that there's anyone who really had it's one of the most thumbs down videos I've gotten recently, but you expect that when you don't, it's a series that's beloved as that. and you're just kind of saying you didn't really like it, you're going to get that. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I think I was fair. Yeah, I don't know. You watch it and you decide. But I followed up with a back-to-back negative review. And guys, for all those people out there who are like, oh, well, you like anything Stephen King puts out. And I kept telling you, well, wait for the Tommyknockers review. This is a video I've wanted to do ever since I started this channel. I kind of told the story in that video of that's the last book that I read before I started Wheel of Time, therefore, and I started this channel. And for reasons that I'll let you watch the video to decide, is kind of one of the reasons I started for this channel. So I kind of have that to thank for it. And I mean, I was pretty much like, I wouldn't say out on reading fantasy. It just wasn't a high priority for me at the time. All I was reading was like Stephen King and Anne Rice. And again, you know, it was pretty much like back to high school. I was just rereading the entire Stephen King works, and then I said, hey, you know what? Why don't I give this Wheel of Time thing a try? And now, here we are. I got a Wheel of Time mug, and I'm talking to you guys about it. So, there we go. Tommyknockers is a book I think it's earned the legacy that it has, and it very much is not for what's inside of the pages. It's just known for being King's last big book before he got sober. And it's reasons that you can see in that book that, yeah, it was time. Because I did have some people kind of clap back in the comments and say, King's wrote stuff this weird later, even after he's sober. I don't know why people say that about this book. Yeah, he never went vagina tentacles eating siblings, guys. So, yeah, this was definitely the book, like I said, where Tabitha was like, it's intervention time, Daddy. So, there we go. Like I said, it's a video I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm glad that I finally got to do it, and I feel like it met my expectations for it. And then, of course, we reviewed Hyperion. I think an amazing, amazing book, and I hope that that came through in that review of how much I really did enjoy that. And it's amazing because it had such high expectations. And not only did it meet it, it definitely exceeded them. So if I had two back-to-back negative reviews there, then I think balancing it with an overly positive review of Hyperion, a book that I found nothing wrong with at all. I didn't even dislike the ending because you know why? I've got the next book. I don't care if it's a cliffhanger. I've got the next book. I don't have to wait. I mean, I do because I'm not reading it until May, and I don't think I'm ever going to finish this book. But yeah, I loved it. I can't really say much more about it. I hope that you guys will give it a shot because I don't think you even have to be a fan of science fiction really to be able to get into that because of the narrative structure that he uses in there, that Simmons uses, is just, it's approachable, I think, for anybody over about like, you know, a junior high reading level to really be able to get into. Yes, it is a very adult book. And so I don't want to tell anybody, hey, junior high. It really just depends on you or how you feel about your kids reading stuff like that. If you were like me and you had a 6-year-old brother that was 6 years your senior, obviously you were reading and watching things you probably shouldn't have at that age. You know what? I like to think I turned out fine. I don't know. That's really kind of up for debate soon. But that's kind of what I did this week. Let's talk about a little plans I have coming along next week here. Again, I'm going to continue to catch up on my reviews. Like I said, I did kind of get backed up there during tax time. I'm going to do 3 more reviews next week after the 3 this week, and then I'll get back to, you know, probably 1 review a week and then doing some other kind of topics. But we're going to kick things off with reviewing Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, another book that I think just completely floored me and just how much I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Just a fantastic book, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into Blake Crouch's other stuff. But Dark Matter is one that I really think just kind of really just scratched an itch that I haven't had since Michael Crichton passed away, and I know that people think that that's kind of a high grade to put on something. I'm not saying he's as good as my second favorite author of all time. I'm just saying it felt like a very good homage to Crichton. It really did, or something that he would have wrote. And then you kind of have your multiverse stuff in there, so it kind of had a King twist in it too. But yeah, great stuff. Can't wait to talk about it. And speaking of Crichton, we'll be talking about The Great Train Robbery. We'll be talking about that book and the movie, which should be a lot of fun. I think this is one that not a lot of people know about, so I'm hoping that it can encourage people who haven't read it yet to pick that book up because it's quite a fun little heist story. And we'll be closing things off with the new John Gwynne book, guys. This is Shadow of the Gods. I received an advanced reader copy of that. And you know what? I finished it like a month ago, and I just forgot to tell everybody about it. Just noticed I had it on my Goodreads still. I hadn't actually crossed it off. But my lips are sealed. I can't tell you anything about it yet. I mean, I guess you can, because there's other reviewers who've already done it. I'm just not going to do that. I like to be respectful of the artist, and John Gwynne is one of the coolest people in the world. So I'm so happy to be able to talk about his books. And guys, after reading this book, yeah, the Banished Lands were not a one-hit wonder. This guy has everything that you want in a fantasy author. And if you guys that are big fans of things like The Last Kingdom and Vikings and things like that, I think you're going to love this. It's going to be right up your alley, because it takes that and it cranks it to 11 and adds in some sea serpents and trolls and things like that. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And I'm in that uncomfortable predicament now where I actually have to wait for a John Gwynne book, and I haven't had to do that since I first discovered the man. So not all is good here. Now, some TV and movie talk, guys. We got a couple of things here I want to talk about. We did watch the movie of Goblet of Fire after we finished the book. And my kid is already starting to fall into that trap where he realizes, hey, movies aren't always quite like what you read. Because you should have heard him complaining during the final, the third act in the Triwizard tournament there, about how different it was from the book. That's not how it happened. That's not how it happened. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm so proud right now. But yeah, I think that's one movie of the series that really kind of got the bastard treatment. It really just it followed most of the same beat. It was just like seriously streamlined. It almost felt like something that you would see like on TV when it's like edited for time. That's almost how it kind of felt. It just it left so much out. And I think this was before they opened that can of worms of, hey, we can make a 3.5, 4 hour movie, or we can make a part 1 and part 2 and get away with it. Harry Potter was definitely big enough they could have done that. And, you know, they did that finally with Deathly Hallows, but I think they should have done like Goblet of Fire too, because so much good stuff from that book that was kind of left out of the movie, or just scrapped altogether. And it's just kind of depressing. I wanted my Sphinx, damn it. Sphinx was so cool. What else? We got a trailer for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead coming directly to Netflix. Now, look, you had me at Zack Snyder, zombies, and Dave Bautista, right? And then the trailer just looks really cool. Look, I watched WWE forever when Batista was a wrestler, and I never felt like he was a good actor when he was on there. Now all of a sudden he's a good actor and fun. And like I said, you just got him. It's like with The Rock. You put The Rock in a movie and he's blowing shit up and he's fighting people, I'm in. Same with this. I think that Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake was one of the greatest zombie movies ever. So I'm going to give it a chance no matter what. If he's going back into the zombie genre, sure, I'm there. And of course, with Netflix, when Netflix puts like a direct movie out, it's like there's plenty of stuff that I wouldn't even ever watched if it wasn't coming directly to Netflix. So I'm going to watch it for that alone. The trailer looks like a lot of fun. And The Gambler by Kenny Rogers has been stuck in my head for like 5 days now because of it. And guys, today, the Shadow and Bone adaptation on Netflix airs. It's getting really, really good reviews. I think last I checked, it was in the high 90s on Rotten Tomatoes, if if that matters to you or whatever. What I've constantly said is I feel like, since I've read the first 2 books now, and I feel like I can actually make a judgment on this, is that I feel like the show was probably going to be better than the books, because not only do they know they've got that built-in audience, but they're going to try to ring in some people outside of that audience and try to get I don't want to say like their Game of Thrones, but I feel like that they want to take with the success they have with The Witcher and kind of one-up it a little bit. And you watch that trailer, and the production value looks at least as high as The Witcher, if not better. Like, I think a lot of the costuming looks actually better than The Witcher does. So it's something that I was going to give a chance anyway. That's the whole reason I read those books, because I thought it'd be a fun experiment. It turns out it wasn't. But yeah, the show looks like, I don't know, it looks like it could be fun. And some of the users on the Discord, we're talking about doing a watch party and watching this together. And the way I look at it is it can only be a lot of laughs if it's bad. So either way, we win. Either it's good and we enjoy it, or it's bad and we laugh at it and enjoy it. So we're going to watch it for sure. I'm going to camping with my kid for Scouts this weekend, so I won't be able to do it here on the release weekend, but we're talking about doing it sometime during the week next week. If you guys are interested in joining us, jump on the Discord. We'd love to have you. And then, guys, I want to end this by doing a little bit of music talk. Again, yes, the second week in a row, I'm going to pull out some CDs on you. These are two of the greatest albums of all time. This is Bat Out of Hell 1 and just Bat Out of Hell and Bat Out of Hell 2 by Meatloaf. But the bigger point here is that these songs were arranged, composed, and written by one Jim Steinman, an absolute genius. And he passed away this week. Of course, they always come in threes, right? I don't know what's next. But this is one that's, again, it's kind of caught me by surprise. Because, I mean, him and Meat have just kind of had an on-again, off-again relationship their whole careers, and it seemed like they would go off and do their own things, and it would be just okay. And then, like, every 15 years or so, they'd get back together and do something, and it was just magic. And I think that, like I said, Bat Out of Hell and Bat Out of Hell 2, not only are they two of the greatest rock albums of all time, they're just two of the greatest albums of all time. There's not a poor track on either of those albums. They're just fantastic, perfectly produced, just a wonderfully arranged, and I can't say enough about when those two got together. It was just magnificent. And just like I said with DMX last week, your legacy is going to live on in that music forever, and I think that's the best thing that you can hope for as a creator. And I've been blasting those two albums nonstop here for a couple of days, and will continue to do so. And I hope if you guys haven't ever listened to those two albums, you will give it a shot, because I will guarantee you one thing: there's nothing else that sounds like a Jim Steinman Meatloaf album. But he also did stuff with Celine Dion, did stuff with Barbra Streisand. He did stuff with so many others. I mean, there's tons of people that he's worked with. Bonnie Tyler. Who else? There was another one that I saw earlier, and I forgot all about that. Anyway, Sisters of Mercy or something like that. I don't know, but he did all kinds of stuff that you will probably recognize, and he had that unique sound, and almost kind of like a Broadway meets rock and roll sound that always made it so unique, and I could never ever get enough of it. So guys, what are you doing? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you playing? What are you listening to? Are you hitting some Bat Out of Hell this week? I hope that you are. Drop in the comments and let me know, and have yourselves a great, great weekend.